From Norman, Oklahoma, tonight the Big East meets the Big 12 as the Oklahoma Sooners face the Wildcats of Villanova. Villanova trying to do something that hasn't been done on this court since December of '99 by an opponent outside the Big 12. That's beat the Sooners. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Norman, Oklahoma. I'm Dave O'Brien alongside Coach Rick Majerus. A pleasure to be along with you. And, Rick, when you think about this one, it's 49 consecutive non-conference home wins for Oklahoma. So dominant on this court outside the Big 12. But Curtis Sumter is trying to end that streak tonight personally for Villanova.
Fluid, mobile, a back-to-the-basket game, a turn-and-face post. This guy can knock down the three ball. And best of all, he gets to the free-throw line, and when he's there, he makes it.
Let's get to Star Watch now for tonight's contest presented by SAP. And a couple of guards in the senior mold, Mike Nardi and Michael Neal, who can both bury the three ball.
Nardi's got big heart most of all. He's a tenacious on-the-ball defender and an absolute knockdown three-point shooter in a variety of ways. Neal separates himself by moving without the ball for himself and his teammates, and when he does get it, he finishes, whether that be in the paint or with the long ball.
Look at the Pizza Hut starting lineups now. Longar, the biggest man on the floor at 6'11" in the Oklahoma middle. Sumter and Nardi combined for about 33 a game. Villanova fell one win shy of the Final Four last year with two All-Americans in the lineup. They needed to replace all that talent, and McDonald's All-American Scotty Reynolds fell right in their lap. We bring in Alan Hopkins now. And Alan, how did the Cats get so lucky?
That when Kelvin Sampson left for Indiana, that the ripple effect would stretch all the way to Philadelphia and Villanova. But that's the case with Scotty Reynolds. Oklahoma's prize recruit was released from his scholarship despite telling Coach Capel for 2 weeks after Capel took over here in Norman that he was committed to the Sooners. He chose Villanova after just a short day visit over Michigan and LSU. I talked to Scotty yesterday. He was feeling all kinds of mixed emotions, but he said he's very content, very happy with his decision. But the interesting note is this, Rick and Dave, he has not talked to Kelvin Sampson one time since everything went down this summer.
All right, Alan, thank you very much. A bit of an awkward situation, but Jeff Capel in his first year at Oklahoma, the former Duke guard who started all 4 years for Mike Krzyzewski, has his team off to a 4-2 start without Scotty Reynolds, who wears number 1 in the Villanova lineup. And Villanova off to a 6-1 start under Jay Wright in his 6th year. We are ready from Norman. Underway, Oklahoma in the white wins the tip, and here we go. Oklahoma, a 20-win season and an NCAA tournament appearance last year, but a vastly different look, especially on that coach's box with Jeff Capel.
They'll know they're not playing our mother of perpetual help tonight. This is a big game for both teams representing their conferences.
Tony Crocker shooting the two-pointer, knocking it down. He's just a freshman out of San Antonio, who started Warren High School in San Antonio, Texas. He said, all my life, all I ever wanted to do was play for Oklahoma. And it gets the Sooners off to a 2-0 start. And very quickly hitting the deck on a hard foul is Reynolds as he goes down quickly, drawing contact here.
How might reminiscent is this of Kyle Lowry, where he turns the corner. The best thing about this kid, though, and you saw it there, is his ability to change speeds with the ball and accelerate.
So Reynolds getting a welcome he did not expect, perhaps, to Norman, Oklahoma. The freshman who has started every game. And think about it, he was supposed to be competing against Villanova tonight. The 6'2 freshman out of Herndon, Virginia. And for Herndon High, he averaged 28 points a game as a senior, as an All-American.
Well, you talked about Crocker and Keith Clark, too. Both those guys are freshmen. We'll see Clark later. They said they chose the school and not the coach, whereas the young guy, Robinson, chose the coach.
Oklahoma breaking the press. Crocker with a wild pass, tipped out of bounds. And Villanova will check it in here in the opening moments. If you get a look at Jay Wright last season, proved that just about every coach's award that one guy can win, you can take home and fit into your trophy case.
What he did take home is a big-time, long-term contract. I think his wife enjoyed that.
He sure did. A school record 28 wins in the top 10 all season long. The hook shot by Sumter will not go, but a foul on the play will go against Villanova. The Cats coming in averaging 82 points a game. And a very good team from beyond the three-point line. Capel in his first year as the Oklahoma head coach, but already 4 years as a head coach, and he's just 31 years old. And before taking this job, he took Virginia Commonwealth to the 2004 NCAA tournament. A kick over and back here. That one caught the foot. A 2-2 tie.
Now watch Nardi on the ball with his defense, how tenacious he is, as we talked about earlier, because very rarely do you see a superb three-point shooter, a soft player usually, but not in Nardi's case. There's a guy who's a defensive disruptor at the 2 spot.
Reynolds running the point as he pulls it up, trying to feed inside the Sumters, averaging 19 points per game. The 6'7" senior who's had all sorts of injury problems. Cunningham will flip it up and score. Dante Cunningham, a sophomore out of Silver Spring, Maryland.
He has really improved. Last year he did not have a middle game. There he was evidence of it there.
Villanova does not have a player averaging beyond 30 minutes per game. And Wright will pretty much only play 7 or 8 at the most. Longar trying to swing that one inside to Crocker, and stolen away by Villanova. So here come the Wildcats. 17:46 to play here in the first half. And off the fake, the bank shot by Sheridan will not go. Oklahoma the rebound on a final as Taylor Griffin is hit. Let's go back to that last hoop as Villanova has the 4-2 lead.
Here we see a beautiful draw and kick by Nardi, who used to play the 1 guard, and now we see that middle game we discussed that was not prevalent in Cunningham's game last season. How fortunate are you to have a 2 guard that can not only do that, stretch the defense deal with the 3 ball, but can handle the 1 spot and pass so adeptly.
Scotty Reynolds picked up his first foul moments ago here. And so Oklahoma finished 3rd in the Big 12, going 20-9 last season with the ball and the long shot off the mark by Austin Johnson, though very capable of hitting that. In fact, he hit 5 threes in their season opener against Norfolk State. And there's Reynolds showing off some of his talent out of the corner. Scotty Reynolds with the bucket.
What he's shown me most of all in this game is confidence.
Coming into a hostile arena as Godboll loses it. And Villanova to run. Here's Reynolds. Nifty bounce pass, and the shovel will be picked off. Johnson on the attack for the Sooners. Longar with a catch and lays it in.
Now that's a staple of a Villanova game, the extra and 1 pass, but there it wasn't necessary. Nardi passed his way and his teammate into a bad shot.
Villanova last winter reached as high as number 2 in the polls in February, but a year later they're unranked. That's a statement reflecting how much talent they lost. As Reynolds fires, and he's badly off the mark, and he'll be razzed by the fans here in Norman a little bit. Villanova losing the All-Americans Alan Ray and Randy Foy. They also lost All-Big East guard Kyle Lowry from a team that lost to eventual national champion Florida. 1 win shy of the Final Four.
Shane Clark has just stepped in. He's a starter. He's got starter stats. He's a 6th man, but I'll tell you what, they start 6 guys. Starting's for high school. This kid here is a bona fide star on the come.
Clark wears number 20 for Villanova, 6'7" sophomore out of Philadelphia. Crocker inside to Longar. Tough move and made the basket to tie it at 6.
When we saw Longar last, he was facing those Purdue guys, and they had strength and bulk. Here he doesn't have that opposition to the basket regarding strength.
Well, when he was first recruited by Kelvin Sampson, Sampson thought that he'd be the best post player he ever had at Oklahoma. Sheridan to Reynolds, outside the 3. Boy, he's hearing it every time he touches the ball here at the Lloyd Noble Center. Nardi on the drive. Great job just to get that pass off to Sheridan. He knocked it down with 7 on the shot clock.
And your 5-man's out on the court spreading it to hit a 3 ball. That's what makes Villanova so difficult to defend.
Sheridan, a 3-year starter, nicknamed Bump. And he's a senior out of Bear, Delaware. A couple of seniors on the roster, but 10 of the 13 for Villanova are freshmen or sophomores. It's a very young team. Crocker with the screen from 3 off the back iron.
2 ill-advised shots by Crocker. He's got a 6'8" guy on him right there, a 5-man. He should learn to drive that mismatch.
Now, Crocker in the first 2 games of the season averaged 16.5 points. In the last 4 games, just 3.5 for Oklahoma. So the shots are not falling at all for him. Nardi yet to get into the offensive flow here for Villanova, but so dangerous beyond that arc. Tries the baseline. And the shot deep out of the corner, off the mark by Clark. Oklahoma to run. It's Godbold out in front, lays it up, and a slam down by Crocker. Well, he tried it that way, and it worked beautifully.
And that was a tribute to their fast break, but Lowry has got to get back and protect paint first. He got caught hanging around the half-court area. Freshman mistake.
That got the crowd active. 9-8 Villanova. And again, Oklahoma's won 49 in a row outside the Big 12 non-conference games on this court. Villanova very aware of that. Nardi will flip it up high using the glass. Very nice.
That was outstanding in terms of the angle of that shot. Very tough shot to make.
Nardi averaging 14 a game, the senior from Linden, New Jersey. And as you pointed out, the heart of the Wildcat attack.
Sumter's the soul, and this guy's the heart.
Here's Crocker. Buries that three. So he's come alive again.
Now, the difference there is he had separation from Nardi on that shot, whereas the two before that he didn't, and he was also had a guard on him who he oversized.
Crocker said as a little kid, he and his family would always listen to Oklahoma games on the radio. The legendary Sooner voice Bob Barry Sr., who's now in his 28th year calling games. That's why he so desperately wanted to come here. Nardi's on the line, and he turns it over. We're tied at 11.
Here we're going to see the Sooners on the run here, and watch Lowry, how he now starts to get back late, but a beautiful passing and angle attack by Oklahoma to finish it off.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lincoln. Reach higher.
The Wildcats of Villanova coming in, averaging 82 points per game. Villanova and Oklahoma tied up at 11. Coach Rick Majerus, Dave O'Brien with you here from Norman as Jay Wright assembles his troops. His team going on to the Elite Eight last year. And this is a team that has the ability to make that extra pass, Rick, and doing it here in the early minutes tonight.
They do a superb job with that. They get the hockey pass. So a terrific stat for the Villanova club is the pass that leads to the pass that gets the assist, because they're so unselfish, sometimes to their detriment.
Mike Nardi averaging 14 a game for Jay Wright, who had his team seeded #1 in the NCAA tournament for the first time in Villanova history last year. And Jay, the Naismith Coach of the Year, as well as Big East Coach of the Year, not too shabby. Longar well away from the basket. Up top to Nate Carter, the 6'6 senior out of San Diego. And a foul away from the basketball here will go against Oklahoma.
And in my opinion, you're bringing in your two best players, Neal and Carter, off the bench. But once again, that speaks to their character. They're not flummoxed at all by not starting. Starting's for high school.
And Michael Neal just picked up that foul. And Neal, a big presence off that bench at 42% beyond the three-point line. Sumter banging right into Carter and committing the offensive foul. That'll be #1 on Curtis Sumter, who was coming off a 28-point gem against Penn on Saturday. He also had 26 in that big win over Iowa, which caught everyone's eye. A 29-point win earlier this season.
This Villanova club is going to be a team to be reckoned with, because Robinson is a very good young freshman point guard.
Stolen away, Villanova forcing the turnover. Cunningham with the floater. Can't get it to go from close range, and a push underneath the basket. That'll go against Villanova. So Cunningham a little bit frustrated by his short miss.
That's Nova's third foul on a pushing situation. Those are the ones you want to eliminate.
Godbold zipping this one in the offensive zone for Carter. And now Walker calls for some motion. You and I saw Walker in Maui. Chris Walker, he's a senior, not getting a chance to start, but he's handled it beautifully and has a great attitude. And another whistle off the basketball. Boy, a lot of whistles here quickly, as Chris Walker and Oklahoma are tied up on a home court they have dominated on, 11 apiece with Villanova. Villanova, Oklahoma at 11-11, 11:54 to play here in the first half. Some big games coming up on Saturday on ESPN and our family of networks. Doubleheader starts at noon on Saturday. Jeff Capel, we're back in his old digs at Cameron as George Mason, the Cinderella, takes on the King, or at least the Duke, the Blue Devils. And you and I will be fortunate enough to be there. Jeff Capel still very fondly remembered there at Duke. Head-to-head tonight with Jay Wright in his 6th year, Capel in his 1st year at Oklahoma.
Both teams have this bothersome press, which is designed to not let them get in sync.
Nardi with the 3. That's around and out. Rebound tapped away. Cunningham steals it. Back to Nardi. So another chance coming here for Villanova. So far, Villanova 4 out of 9 shooting it. Oklahoma 5 for 7. But we've had a slew of fouls called in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Sumter backing in. Close range, can't get it to go. And his shots are not falling in the opening minutes. Tipped out of bounds, however, off Oklahoma. So Villanova will have another opportunity. Bilal Ben will check in wearing number 3 for the Wildcats. And so will Keith Clark, a 6'8 freshman for Oklahoma. Ben gets it in. Cunningham was blocked off, and Nardi drives the lane. He jumps in with the left hand. Nicely done.
Looked like a point guard net. In reality, he's a 2. But as I said, he's the heart of their club.
Coming off a 19-point game in Nova's weekend win over Big 5 rival Penn at the Palestra. Here's Neal lining up a 3. Got it. It rattled in for him.
He aligns and positions himself so well relative to the penetration of the ball. You saw an example of it there.
Last year, he had a 4-game stretch. It was in February, during which he hit 26 threes. Another one will go down. Villanova starting to heat up 16-14. The Wildcats have it. Nardi is the man starting to get the hot hand.
You saw his strength and most importantly his confidence. He knocked Walker right away by virtue of not being contact shy at all.
Here's Crocker, who has 7 already. Inside, Carter had it blocked from behind. Villanova forcing the turnover, and now Nardi will walk it up for the Wildcats. A 2-point lead for Villanova as Nardi again goes all the way through. The kick out for Clark. Got it. That's a 3-pointer for Shane Clark.
What's happened there is they got caught in no man's land. Crocker came to help, couldn't have gotten the penetration and left his man. You can't have that happen. You got to stay home on the ball side shooter for that 3-ball there.
The Villanova just adores Shane Clark, the sophomore from Philly. Comes off the bench, but is their number 3 scorer. Nardi going down on his knee, Globetrotter style.
And in Star Watch, we talked about him being a tenacious defender. He is the Wildcats' best on-ball defender because he has such active hands.
Oh, and by the way, a 44% shooter beyond the 3-point line.
And additionally, 1,000 at the foul line.
So Villanova up by 5 and heating up beyond that arc.
Here we see him drive, draw, and kick. Now watch Crocker come in there, not really needed. He can't get out to his man, leaves the shooter ball side of the court, and they bottom down a 3. One thing the Spurs do, and every collegiate team should watch it, Popovich is the best at it. He never leaves the ball side shooter off that draw and kick. He'd much rather get beat by the 2 at the rim.
Reynolds greeted by boos as soon as he touches it. The youngster who initially committed to Oklahoma. Ben turns, spins, can't get it to go. Well, the NBA on ESPN follows our game at 9 Eastern as the Philadelphia 76ers travel to Chicago to take on the Bulls. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com. The 76ers and the Bulls coming up. Rick Majerus, Dave O'Brien with you, along with Alan Hopkins from the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Look at Oklahoma, their last 9 possessions, kicking it over 7 times. They've taken 9 shots, have turned it over 9 times in this one. Anderson with a hand check and a foul here inside 9 minutes to play in the first half.
You got to be ball strong, number 1, and number 2, they don't have good spacing. They're a little bit bunched up, and therefore Nova's able to rake and dig.
What, you use a comment like ball strong. Explain that one.
You got to just hold that ball and understand that guys are going to flick at it. You know, you can't be casually looking to make that pass. And when a guy does come at you, Dave, and extends into his body with his hands, how about that for a 6'8", 250-pound freshman? Coach Capel told me yesterday he thinks he is the best player on his team, and that includes Neal. Strong statement.
Yeah. Clark, who could have gone to Texas or Kansas or Texas Tech, but he got hooked on the local university as a 7th grader. And a big fan of Oklahoma basketball. He's out of Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma had been doing a good job of defending the pick and roll, and now they're not. Now they're getting separation to it. And if you're going to beat the Wildcats, you've got to have great pick and roll defense, because you're going to face no less than 70 of them tonight.
Curtis Sumter so far with only 3 points, came in averaging 19 points and 5 rebounds. So Oklahoma's done a pretty good job on him. And another foul here by Anderson. He's picked up 2 in about the last 90 seconds. Villanova opening up a 22-16 lead at Oklahoma.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. On ESPN2 right now, Duke taking on Holy Cross. The Crusaders with an early lead. Eric Meister hitting the jump hook. Duke's gone on top now. It's 15-14 still in the first half, guys.
Hi, Reese. Thank you very much. Not often you see a team shooting 70% from the floor and losing. But that's Oklahoma down 22-16. Just inside 8 minutes to play here in the first half. And Coach Majerus, let's go inside the play. Brought to you by SAP.
Here's what makes Nova so tough. Nardi's got the ball. Sumter's going to come on over here on the wing and set a screen. He's going to run into this pick. And now we stop it right here. All of a sudden you see Clark getting there late. Now watch Sumter's separation. Nardi draws his man, Clark, to him, and they make the shot. If you're going to play Nova, you've got to get out and not let them get that separation on that pick, or you got to switch it.
Griffin trying to move inside, but traveling with it. So he kicks it back, and now Alan Hopkins, let's go to you. I know you were inside that huddle a moment ago.
Well, Coach Majerus must have been certainly listening in what Coach Capel was thinking, because he said, get up on the ball screens. That was his main point of emphasis on defense. He also reminded his team during the bonus the rest of the half, so make sure that they stay aggressive on offense, move the ball in motion when they're in their motion offense, because he hasn't been doing a good job in his estimation thus far. Back to you, Dave.
A very strong move there by Sumter, who's beginning to feel it a little bit, starting to fall for him. Yeah, I think we've established that Coach Majerus can coach a little bit.
One thing I want to tell you here, Villanova last year with their 4-guard spacing, they spaced the floor as well as anyone in college ball. By that I mean they're high and they're wide and they're deployed, so that if you get caught in no man's land, they're going to make you pay for it with either the draw and kick or the and-one pass subsequent to the draw and kick.
Austin Johnson turning it over as he was on the line. Keith Clark comes back in, and Taylor Griffin, who turned it over seconds ago, steps out. But you see, Oklahoma has already turned it over 11 times. This has been a big problem for Villanova. They've been averaging about 15 turnovers. Here's Sumter again. Off the front rim that time. Sheridan got a touch on the rebound. He collects it, hits the ground, and now he's traveling with it.
I love Sheridan's heart. The guy's got kind of a bad wheel. He's sort of the old man statesman of the team, but I'll tell you something, he's got big heart. And he knows his role. He's a dirty work player, and I say that affectionately. By no dirty player at all, but what he does is he gives his body, he screens, he gets loose balls, and he gets rebounds.
I think you see why his nickname is Bump Sheridan.
Yeah.
The senior, Long Arm tried the pass to Johnson, picked off. Another turnover by the Sooners. Reynolds attacks the rim, lays it up, and it goes down for him.
I called him Lowry earlier because I'll tell you what, nothing's changed except the number. He's got the same moxie Lowry had, only he's a freshman.
With those turnovers really piling up, Capel calls for a timeout. Nova has expanded the lead to 10. Jeff Capel, a little concerned right now because his team has suddenly turned it over 12 times, and Villanova's on a 13-2 run. So the lead into double digits here. Johnson at the point now for the Sooners. And again, they've won 49 in a row outside the conference on this court. That's on the line tonight. Long arm doubled up. The kick out for Godbold. Nardi got hammered by Clark in the rebounding effort. 6:16 remaining here in the first half as we check in with Reese Davis for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
All right, guys, 22 home runs away from breaking the all-time record. Barry Bonds going to Disney World, not sure where he's going to play. Showed up for the winter meeting to meet with teams. Some believe it's gamesmanship. Mike Piazza will be swinging his bat for the Oakland Athletics. 1 year, $8.5 million. SportsCenter after 76ers Bulls, ESPN News always, guys.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. The big bats on the market, and Mike Piazza decides he's going to do a lot more DHing than he ever has before, changing leagues. The spin by Sumter, and he'll back it out. He's got a hot hand lately, but the shot clock is down to 7.
Great patience by Nova. Look at how they use the whole floor and the shot clock.
Reynolds will turn it over. A traveling violation, beautifully defended there with 5:43 to play in the first half.
Terrific call by the ref because that was the principle of verticality. He jumped into him trying to bait the call. As usual, you got a good crew on the game tonight. That was a nice call.
That's Jim Burr, Ted Hillary, and Curtis Shaw, so a real veteran crew here in Norman. 12 turnovers, 11 shots for Oklahoma. That'll get you down on the home court regardless of how well you play here. Clark with a shot clock at 13. Goes up strong, but a little too strong high off the glass, and here come the Cats. Boy, Reynolds handles the ball so well. Off to Sumter. Off the front rim. The rebound tip to Crocker, and the Sooners get it back down 10. Crocker, he was on fire early on. Longar trying to collect that rebound, had it stripped.
They have got such active hands. They are always raking and digging. You better protect that rebound when you get it. They're going to take it from you.
Villanova 6-1, including a 5-point loss to Xavier in that surprisingly easy 29-point win over Iowa. This, by the way, marks Villanova's first ever visit to Oklahoma. The Cats beat the Sooners last December back home at the Pavilion. Inside again, it's Nardi this time to open up that lead to 28-16.
Think there's any pickup trucks with gun racks in Philly?
I don't even want to go there.
Okay.
I don't mean Philly, by the way. I love the town. Johnson with a stop and pop, knocks it down. Austin Johnson, the sophomore out of Amarillo, Texas.
Gotta like the cheesesteak capital of the world.
Nothing like it in Philly. That basket, by the way, ends a 15-2 run by Villanova. And it quiets the crowd here for a moment. Reynolds inside. Nice dish to Sumter. Has it swatted away, but right back to Sheridan. And now Oklahoma will clear it. Johnson with the crossover. Lost it out of bounds. Another turnover. That's 14. Capel can't believe it. Maybe he can't believe his team is only down 10 with all those turnovers.
I'm Reese Davis. Coming up on the UPS halftime report, Billy Donovan hopes he won't be served any more fried Gators. Providence in town to take on the champs, and we'll also break down the Big 12 versus the Big East. Who's really proved anything up to this point? Doug and Tom will be here to talk about that. And how strong is the bonds market? We'll see if anybody is really interested in Barry when we come back at halftime.
Thanks, Reese. Oklahoma down 10, and here's why. Take a look at Austin Johnson. He attacks Nardi. All of a sudden, Nardi levels him off. Active hands. Tenacious defender Nardi. Nothing there. Speed kills. He accelerates instead of veering off and understanding he no longer has the angle of the rim and the break's over.
So another turnover, number 14, as a result of speed and a good defensive play of Nardi. By the way, the season high for turnovers for Oklahoma is 21. That was in a loss to Memphis in Maui. Villanova and Sheridan, long range. That didn't touch anything.
That was a terrible shot.
Neal up ahead. Longar powers it in. He's turned it over 4 times in the first half, but not this time.
When you take that bad a shot, Dave, and your defense can't get back, and then they can't set up, and shooting out of a corner, too, with your 5-man on 2 passes out of the break, as much as I love Sheridan.
Oh, Ben, great move on the baseline. Belisle Ben, the sophomore from Philly, out of the famous Hargrave Military Academy, but a quick conversion on the other end to make it 30-22. Crocker getting through. He's had a fine half with 9 points.
Defensive conversion. Nice job by Oklahoma to sprint that ball and run it right back at him. But Oklahoma has to solve the pick-and-roll scenario.
Clark drives all the way through. Strong move to the glass. Oklahoma in transition now. Here comes Walker. Neal was calling for the ball. Great fake, and now draws the foul. 2:27 left in the first half. College basketball continues later tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN2. John Calipari, number 17, Memphis, meeting the Tennessee Volunteers For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
I can't wait to watch my man Willie Kemp there. I love that guard, the freshman guard from Memphis.
I'm sure you love this guy in his day as an All-American, as a freshman no less. Wayman Tisdale. Now they're celebrating 100 years of Oklahoma Sooner basketball. He was a great forward here between 1982 and 85 before going on to the NBA.
Fantastic collegiate player, pedestrian pro, but an absolutely sensational musician. I'll tell you something, this guy is really a jazz player extraordinaire. Take a look at Tisdale here.
A three-time All-American. Between 84 and 85, he scored nearly 1,000 points and proved to be the second pick in the 1985 NBA draft by the Indiana Pacers. Spent a lot of his career with Sacramento. But you had an interesting point before the game about Wayman, that his love of music may have affected his proficiency as a pro.
No question about it. One thing you got to do if you're going to be a pro, you got to see yourself as a ball player, not as a rapper, a musician, an actor, or anything else. Early in the Diesel's career, Shaq, when I had him in Dream Team 2 with Nelly, he saw himself as something other than that. And then when he decided he wanted to be a basketball player, the rest is history.
Dwayne Anderson collecting his third foul seconds ago for Villanova, so he's the only man in trouble right now. Sumter really battling for it, and Sheridan commits the foul as he dove after the loose ball with 2:16 to go in the half.
Frustration foul there. You got to eliminate frustration fouls. The ref will call enough good fouls without you playing into the opponent's hand.
So Walker will go to the line here now. One issue for Jay Wright has been his team's ability or inability to hold on to a lead. In their last game against Penn, they were up by a bunch there, by 10 with 10 minutes played. 2 minutes later, the game was tied.
And the enemy was them. As Pogo said, we met the enemy as us. It's shot selection, it's quick passes, it's ill-advised shots. Like we saw Sheridan coming that timeout. Your five-man taking a shot with 28 seconds on the clock out of the left corner.
Oklahoma to check it in after Walker missed on the foul shot. Here's Crocker driving the lane, lays it up. Kind of a wild effort there. And they're going to wave off that basket. It'll be a charge. Well, he went in kind of crazy as he picks up his first foul.
Now, Dave, something to watch for here. Nardi is their best defender, and he is a superb on-the-ball defender. But how about Khalil Ben? Here you see a beautiful drive, steps in there, gives his body the penetration. But Ben, interestingly enough, covers Neal, their best player, the soft off the bench, who did such a good job on Iggy Jabber from Penn last week.
Clark, quick move to the baseline, draws contact there with 1:53 left. One thing about Jeff Capel, watching him on that sideline, he is very demonstrative. He's into the game as if he's still playing for Duke and Mike Krzyzewski, like he's still suited up. 30-22, he's crept within 8 here. And Nate Carter comes back on for Oklahoma.
He'll curtail his emotion as he gets a little older. This play here, Dave, that's the play we saw him last year beat Cincinnati with on the end out of bounds. Villanova is superb on end out situations. They practice them and they take the John Chaney school of thought, one pass to score.
Let's take another look at that. Cunningham was fouled on the play.
What a beautiful read.
And Cunningham to the line. Dante Cunningham, who's averaging 8 points a game. His sister, Dava Lynn, played in the WNBA for a short while, so good basketball genes as Walker will step out. And Austin Johnson will step in for Oklahoma.
No player on the Villanova team has improved more than this kid here, Cunningham, since last season.
Now 67% shooter. Villanova perfect at the foul line. They're a very good free throw shooting team. Nardi, for example, hasn't missed yet this year. He's 19 for 19.
Going to a 2-3 zone, they went to a 1-3-1 last time they came out of a timeout.
Oklahoma moving it around. Neal. Johnson. Neal will shoot it from there. And it's in and out. Boy, that was inside the cylinder and it kicked out. So Michael Neal a little bit unlucky. He had 18 points and 7 rebounds against Memphis in a loss in Maui. So he can fill it up. Clark. Great feed to Cunningham, and he lays it in. What a fantastic pass.
I love the timing of the pass, but more importantly, I love how Cunningham held his man off and used his body to seal him.
So under a minute to play here in the first half. Villanova back in front by 12.
Dave, you showed a coach's appreciation for that pass.
I love that.
It was
pass.
sensational.
Great spin on it as Johnson leans in. The rebound tipped up and in by Longar.
The danger of the zone. You allow rebounding angles to the basket without definitive blockouts.
Oklahoma on a pace to score just 48 points. 8 so far for the big fellow Longar, who stands 6'11".
Only a 3-second difference between the shot and game clock. Your goal here is to hold it so they don't get an opportunity to come back at you.
And Oklahoma in serious trouble as far as this non-conference home winning streak, which is the longest in the country at 49 straight. Nardi, he fires, and that's in and out. Sumter really held off by Godbold on that play right in front of the Villanova bench. Those two tangled up and got pretty physical. 8.4 seconds left.
They can afford to lose Godbold. You can't afford to lose Sumter. Sumter's got to control his emotions. It was indeed a hold-off. A nice observation on your part, but nevertheless, you've got to know who you are and the value to your team. As we said, Nardi's the heart and he's the soul of the Wildcats.
Sumter winds up picking up the foul, his second. That's a call that could have gone either way. Johnson out, Walker in for Oklahoma. And Godbold will go to the line. David Godbold, the junior. The excellent defender. Averaging 10 points per game, and he's at the line here with 8 seconds to play in the half.
Only shot 4 free throws all year. Four for 5 right now.
So Villanova with an opportunity off the inbounds here. Rebounded away by Sumter, but stolen away by Walker. He'll turn and shoot the three. Neal underneath the basket. A foul here with 2.8 seconds remaining.
And that could be an intentional foul. Longar just grabbed him and threw him to the floor.
Let's take another look here with time remaining at 2.8 seconds.
Now watch Longar right there. He just pushes him down. I like to see that emotion in Longar, though. Sometimes he's too stoic.
He picks up his first foul.
Number 42,
34-25, Villanova. Reynolds to the line. Scotty Reynolds, who has started every game for Villanova, that was supposed to be coming to Oklahoma, has signed a letter of intent to play here. As he drops in the first foul shot and changed his mind and was released from that obligation. When Kelvin Sampson left to go to Indiana, he has not spoken to Kelvin Sampson since that. It was an emotional breakup in the young Reynolds' mind.
He found out how amateur this is, right?
Reynolds makes the pair. 36-25. And the Sooner fans ready to roar tonight, among other things, to try to preserve this non-conference home court win streak, but it's in serious jeopardy. Chance for a final shot here. Walker across midcourt, lost the dribble and never got the shot away. So we're at halftime here in Norman. And Villanova has the lead. Nardi has been shooting it effectively, 4 out of 6. He has 9 points to lead the way. And it's 36-25 at halftime as we go to Reese Davis, Tom Brennan, Doug Gottlieb, and the crew in the studio for the UPS Halftime Report. Gentlemen, take it away. Basketball is just starting. A team with a long non-conference home winning streak is in trouble. Oklahoma, Duke is too, because Holy Cross has Duke down by 6 at halftime. For Oklahoma, it's a 49-game home court win streak out of conference. On the line right here, Dave O'Brien and Rick Majerus. Villanova has them in trouble because they space so well. One of the problems, Oklahoma not able to solve that in the early going.
They keep it high and wide off the ball, and they do a good job then of not enabling the other team to come to help. Here we take a look at the ball being reversed, and you can start to see the spacing develop right here. Now you see over on this side of the floor how they're high, wide, and occupied. Now the ball comes in here. Cunningham's posting up. That's Clark. Take a look at it over here as well. Now we see that hard bounce pass go in. Beautiful pin, a terrific seal, and that was all because they were deployed and help side defense couldn't get in to interact with the post feed.
Jay Wright's team perfect on the road this season, but this would be their biggest road win. They're 3-0 outside of Philadelphia. Overall 6-1. Villanova in the blue, starting with the ball here in the second half. Oklahoma shot 55% in the first half, and they were down 11. Sumter can't get it to go close range, but it's Sheridan to tap it up for the Cats.
The dirty work rebounder who is fearless. I love Sheridan because he knows his role.
Crocker had 9 points in the first half for Oklahoma. Those really came in a hurry. And Nardi 9 points and 3 assists to lead Villanova. Neal straight away with a jump shot. That 3 won't drop for him, and Sheridan will clear it for the Cats. Villanova averaging 82 points per game. It's Reynolds all the way through. Sumter fighting for the rebound, but it rolled off his fingertips.
Reynolds' ability to change speeds off the dribble. He doesn't have the quick blow by, but he's got the great change of speed.
Boy, Johnson with a long 3. Austin Johnson, the sophomore out of Amarillo. He can also get high above that rim. Tremendous leaping ability. So he's a double threat.
Yes, he is. A point guard that can stretch the D is invaluable.
Nardi controls it straight away. Again, 9 points to lead the Cats. Trying to get inside. Flips it up and in.
So tough. There's very few two guards that have the 3-ball like he does, the defensive presence, and can drive to the rim.
Count that basket. Goaltending as we go back to Nardi moments ago.
Now remember, this is a 2-man right here, although he did play 1. Look at him get body contact here and play through it. There's a guy who's ball strong, hesitation dribble, plays through that hit. And you're looking at their most tenacious on-the-ball defender as well.
The senior out of New Jersey. As Reynolds chats with Wright. The coach getting the freshman point guard back in order. Reynolds a little demonstrative over there. He's had a very emotional night. You knew that was going to happen. Sumter started to go inside, and instead he drains the long one. A 3-pointer for Sumter, also doubly dangerous.
So multifaceted. Post game with back to the basket and facing 3-ball game in the drive as well.
Longar spins to his right along the baseline. Went for the jam, and it's stuffed right back in his face by Cunningham. Boy, Cunningham can get up.
Shades of Sean Marion, and that helped.
Indeed. Clark misfiring from the corner. And Oklahoma wants to run. Godbold ahead to Neal. He finds Johnson. He can hit that, and he knocks down another one. Here come the Sooners. Down 10, and Johnson has 8.
Now, he doesn't get much leap, as most three-point shooters do. It's kind of a set push shot.
Well, the crowd springing to life. It's been slowly building here as Nardi stops, pops, and hits from 2-point range.
Well, as Allen did such a good job of reporting in their huddle in the first half, they've got to get out and get some help to not let they're beaten by the ball every time in the pick and roll.
Crocker went for Longar. Great idea, but off his fingers and out of bounds. Let's go to Alan Hopkins, who spoke with both coaches at the break. Alan?
Well, Dave, Coach Capel emphatically saying his team cannot shoot 55% and turn the ball over 15 times, which is what they did in the first half. He said there's no way you can ever win at this level doing that. He also said they need to do a better job of keeping Villanova out of the middle of the floor, and they need to do a better job of handling pressure. Coach Wright, it was very simple. He said he's happy with the turnovers they're creating, but Oklahoma shooting 55% when they don't turn them over. He expects them to do a better job of defending the second half, Dave.
Well, in fact, in the first half of the last 2 games, Villanova has forced 32 turnovers, 17 at Penn, 15 tonight. Villanova gives it right back here, and it's Crocker in the paint as he commits the foul. That's going to be a charge. The play markedly crisper here in the second half on both sides of the floor.
Crocker doesn't really have a halfway game, but then again, he's young. He's going to have to develop that.
That's his 3rd.
How about Sumter going there to give his body, irrespective of his knee injury? Sumter's got such big heart, too.
Well, you're right about Sumter. He's delighted just to be on the court after what he's been through. A couple of years ago, he was all Big East second team as Nardi knocks down another one, and Villanova has its biggest lead at 48-33. Nardi twice blowing out the ACL in the same knee, the left knee. But on the court here tonight, enjoying a fine start to his season. Here's Crocker to launch, and got it. A three-pointer timeout for Oklahoma.
You're going to see Nardi moving without the ball. He reads this so well. He was going to pop out left side. You're going to see him stacked up here in just a moment. Then he pops out right, comes out, boom, reads it, nails it. Such confidence.
Reese Davis with you over on ESPN2. Duke is in a fight with Holy Cross. The Crusaders up by 5 until DeMarcus Nelson hit that three. Still early in the second half, but Duke still down by 2, guys. We'll keep an eye on it.
Indeed, Reese, it may be a cold night for streakers. Look at Oklahoma, 49 consecutive non-conference home wins, but that's on the line tonight. Duke also with a long non-conference home court winning streak as well. 48-36 Villanova. And with the basketball here with 16 minutes to play in the contest.
Oklahoma comes out zone out of the timeout. Better find Nardi.
Reynolds trying to get inside it, can't, and he double dribbles with it. A turnover. Oklahoma plagued by those in the first half. That's the 9th in the game here for Villanova. 17 for Oklahoma, and as you can see, that bandaged up arm of Austin Johnson, who's been hot as a firecracker here in the second half with a couple of long threes, just threw that one away. But Johnson forced to have an IV at halftime, not feeling well at all. At least he wasn't until he got the IV, because he's been hitting everything in sight since then. 48-36 Villanova. Villanova's team chaplain, Reverend Rob Hagan, right there in the huddle. Villanova on top 48-36. Rob is a Villanova grad, and he was actually a criminal defense attorney before the priesthood. We want to mention a very special hello to Father Bernard Laser, the former team chaplain at Villanova, and boy was he ever, from 1976 to 2004. He's ill right now, in fact seriously ill, but he was there with Rolly Massimino and Ed Pinckney in 1984 when they won the national title, a shocking win over Georgetown. So our best to Father Bernard Laser, and we're hoping for a quick recovery.
I admire those guys so much for their dedication to the students and how principled they are.
50-36 Villanova here, coming up on the 15-minute mark, and Oklahoma needing to make a run, or they will lose on their home court to a non-conference opponent for the first time since 1999 in December, when Cincinnati came in here and won in the 99 season. That one will roll out of bounds. And no foul. That one off of Oklahoma.
They try to go high-low and go inside. They have been settling for jumpers. I mean, amen to that move out of the timeout, brother. I like what Capel just did, because he said, let's try to get something going inside so we can get to the foul line.
We saw a lot of fouls with far less contact than that in the first half, I'll tell you. Shot clock down to 3. Carter doesn't see it.
They don't know it.
He fires it up, and around and off the rim, rebounded away by Neal. Got it off in time. And another crack at it for the Sooners.
This might well be their best lineup on the floor right now.
Johnson all the way through, trying a tough reverse. Didn't get it.
He gets sped up too much, Dave. Speed kills. That's a John Chaney line. And speaking with a Philly team here, what a great career he had and what a wonderful coach.
Clark sealed off, but Ben is walking with it. Bilal Ben, the sophomore from Philly. And Jeff Capel's team in trouble here, and that is rarely the case out of the conference at the Lloyd Noble Center here in Norman.
Ben and Nardi comprise their best defensive backcourt. Ben is the second best defender on the team, in my estimation, of Nardi, although some pundits in Philly think he is the best.
Neal takes it right. The long shot by Godbold, a little bit too strong.
They're shooting with a hand in their face. They got to learn to drive that closeout. When the defense builds out to you with a hand up and has no regard for your drive, you got to put it on the floor.
Villanova lost a ton of talent in the All-Americans Alan Ray and Randy Foye, and also the guard Kyle Lowry, for a team that would eventually lose to the national champion, the Florida Gators, 1 win shy of the Final Four. The offensive foul here with 14:04 remaining in the game. You take a look at that lost offense, combining for 67% of the points. And also about half of the rebounding for Jay Wright on a terrific team that won a school record 28 games.
I like the chemistry of the Villanova team. That's why they won those 28 games. And it's not missing with the 3 guys going on to Pro Bowl.
Jay Wright said we coached chemistry and attitude more than anything else, but we knew that team was going to show up every single night. We never had to coach efforts with those guys.
Well, Lowry was my favorite competitive player last year, and Warren Robinson is not yet the competitor, nor does he have the toughness, but he's on his way.
Nate Carter with the foul for Oklahoma at 13:48 to play in this one in Norman. And of course, Oklahoma lost a lot as well as Walker returns for the Sooners. They lost 3 seniors, Taj Gray, Kevin Bookout, and Terrell Everett. A huge chunk of their scoring and rebounding. And they also lost 3 recruits. We're talking about one of them here tonight, and Scotty Reynolds, who went to Villanova. Sumter fires. And rebounded away by number 32, Taylor Griffin.
3 years ago, Sumter was the pro. And then Lowry, Ray, and Foy come into play. But to get Sumter back, not having played.
Well, Sumter just delighted to be on the court after those 2 knee injuries. He blew out the ACL, the same ACL, 7 months apart, and missed all of last season. But here in what is finally his senior year, averaging 19 points and 5 rebounds per game.
He rebounds his size, but what he does best is he's a multifaceted player, and you can't pick your poison with him when you defend him, because he can go anywhere on the court and score in a variety of ways.
Griffin slams it back in Cunningham's face. The rejection off the inbounds. Oklahoma trying to cut into that lead, and a foul as the entry pass was made against Villanova. 13:08 left. And college basketball continues later tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. It's John Calipari's very talented number 17 Memphis Tigers meeting the Tennessee Volunteers. For more info, log on to ESPN.com.
That game will have a composite score well over 180.
Yeah, it should.
If you like your ball fast and your pace furious, tune that one in. That's going to be outstanding.
Memphis and Tennessee coming your way. Long arm backing down on Sheridan, bumping. Great pass as Crocker came slanting in.
Longar did a good job there maintaining his poise.
And Crocker has 16. And the crowd livening up a bit. Not a real big crowd. The game did start at 6 o'clock local time. Here's Nardi to quiet them.
I'll tell you something. Every time you need a go-to basket, it's he or Sumter. 2 seniors and 2 guys who understand and are fearless, but they understand how to get their shot.
Sumter, the cheerleader as well, as he has stepped out for a few moments. 19 points from Mike Nardi.
Nardi saw that seam open up in transition and just came and filled it.
10 points in the second half for Nardi, and he's done that very quietly. Walker up top to Griffin. Shot clock at 9. Griffin right through, left-handed shot. Very tough angle and got it to go.
Ever since the timeout, great move by Coach Capel. He's been adamant that they drive, that they try to go inside, quit settling for Jays, and don't take that inopportune easy 3, and his team has followed his directive.
We're really waiting for a furious run here by Oklahoma to protect this home court winning streak. It hasn't happened yet. They were down 11 at halftime. They're down 13 now. Nardi off to Cunningham. Shot clock at 9. Here's Reynolds. He's been quiet lately. Off the glass. Won't go, but stuffed in by Cunningham. Boy, he's got serious hops.
And great instincts. I'll tell you something. The kid has got to learn to assert himself a little bit more. He doesn't realize what a good player he is. He almost demurs too much to Sumter and Nardi.
Longar able to control on that baseline, and now fouled on the play. He'll be shooting. As Sheridan came on in to hammer him. A 15-point lead for the Wildcats.
Here we're going to see Nova running the floor. They have great spacing not only in the half court, but in the full court as well. And now we see Cunningham following up on that drive. No one's put a body on him, and he capitalizes.
Duke's non-conference home court winning streak still in jeopardy on ESPN2 against Holy Cross. Look at Big Tim Clifford with the footwork inside. He just picked up his 4th foul and went to the bench. The Crusaders and Blue Devils tied at 34. And don't forget, coming up as soon as we're finished with Villanova and Oklahoma, Allen Iverson and the Sixers going into Chicago to take on the Bulls. That's coming up top of the hour.
Please, thank you. Villanova looking sharp here, up 55-40 at Oklahoma. Still plenty of time for the Sooners, but it has to start at the line. And Longar, who's averaging over 13 points, 7 rebounds per contest. At the stripe here, the 6'11 junior from Sudan misses the first one. He has 5 brothers and 5 sisters. His family moved to Egypt in 1995, then to Chicago in 98. That is not a typical route of travel. And misses both. Rebound tip to Nardi, who's everywhere. Oklahoma just 1 for 6 at the line.
Nardi's like the Energizer Bunny. I mean, this guy's got bounce and purposeful bounce.
And does not make many mistakes.
Oklahoma goes at 1-3-1.
Clark baseline, strong move. Laid it up, short, missed it. And Villanova will keep it.
Nova's a dangerous team to zone because they got the dagger throwers in Nardi and Sumter.
Sumter
on
back
the
in.
perimeter.
Yep, Anderson will step out.
Then you create rebounding angles for Cunningham, Sheridan, and company.
Nardi to inbound here for the Cats. Sumter. He's got to be careful with that knee of his, that left knee. Here's Nardi again, long this time.
I disagree with you on that, Dave. He's got to play with absolutely no regard for it, because if he does, he'll get tentative and compromise his game, which is a big time predicated on heart.
Traveling violation here, and he has said the same thing. He has said it took me a while, and I was tentative at first, but in the early season games, he was able to get beyond that, and he doesn't think about it anymore.
And that's a credit to the kid, because once you play apprehensive or you play cautious to injury, that's when most injuries occur.
20th turnover for Oklahoma, and they still have over 10 minutes to play here. So they're piling up. Reynolds nearly slipped, got it stolen away by Walker. Quick hands there. A one-man fast break. Lays it up, tough shot, tipped up, and Longar tipped up his own miss.
Reynolds makes the classic point guard mistake of young guys. He dribbles into a crowd and plays into a crowd. He passes into a crowd. You saw him dribble into a crowd. You don't want to do that. You want to draw a crowd.
The freshman off to Nardi. The senior really a calming influence. He has been all night for Villanova. And another foul on the dribble drive. Stops the clock with 9:49 left.
Now we see Reynolds here, and see how he draws into a crowd there? He dribbles into 3 guys collapsing on him. You want to draw a crowd, not play into a crowd. He drove right into that 2- and 3-man help.
The entry to Sheridan. Nardi open, long 3. And Sheridan pushing on his way to the glass. He commits the foul and picks up his 4th.
Too bad he's so undersized, Sheridan. I don't think he'll have a pro career, but he's got a pro mindset. He has Ben Wallace toughness. He's a favorite of mine, that kid.
Well, he's an impressive young man as Cunningham comes on and Sheridan out, but Sheridan off the floor as well. He represented Villanova at the NCAA Leadership Conference last summer, discussing issues affecting student athletes on campus. So he has a lot of interest off the court, too. In fact, he did a diary for the Philadelphia Daily News during the NCAA tournament last year. He's a pretty good writer.
He's the second player that we've had. We had Orlando Tucker at Wisconsin, who represented him. And speaking of Wisconsin, how about that Wisconsin-Marquette game coming up with the Hall of Famer Rafferty doing it this Saturday? We'll have Duke in a great match against George Mason, but I want to tell you, I am so excited to watch that Marquette game as well.
Yep. So I know what you and I are doing as soon as we finish up our day job. We're going to be watching that contest, Wisconsin and Marquette.
Golden Eagles and the Badgers.
Sumter deep into the corner, off to Clark. Shot clock at 14.
Nice patience.
And some sticky defense by Oklahoma to force the turnover. Back over to the Sooners it goes with 9 minutes to play.
And the reason Oklahoma's fought their way back in is zone and shot selection on the other end relative to more drives and more post feeds.
Well, the feeling for Villanova is that they are in total control of this game as Godbolt dumps it down low for Longar. Long shot from the corner. That won't go by Crocker, although he's had a hot hand tonight. with 16 points.
And that was a great three. What a nice pass by Longar to find the perimeter open when he was double teamed.
Boy, Jeff Capel wanted a turnover there. He wanted a double dribble, not called. And Capel up off his bench so quickly, he nearly slipped and fell on the seat of his pants as he lost his footing.
Reddings didn't shoot the ball right here because they were trying to get a little bit more.
Inside to Redding. On the floor he goes. A tie-up. The possession arrow will take it the other way here with 8:16 to play. And time beginning to run down here for Oklahoma unless they can make a run.
But they have been tentative and they are careless. And as you had mentioned earlier in the telecast, let's not forget in the second half at Penn, with 10 minutes to go, they were down 10. With 8 minutes to go, it was tied.
That's a charge. An offensive foul, and Villanova will benefit here, but their lead disappeared very quickly in that victory over Penn. One more look at the charge as Clark gets called for it.
How about Sumter right here? This is what you want a senior to do. Look at him level off that dribble, move the feet. It was the correct call because he had body position.
And you're absolutely right. There is no sign of tentativeness at all for a guy who blew out that knee. Look at Nardi way downtown. Cunningham went in strong for the rebound, knocked it away to Clark of Oklahoma. So the Sooners are getting their chances.
Right guy shooting it. There is no bad three for Nardi when he has separation, space, and time.
Godbold, a three. Way short. He was off balance shooting that. Now the alley-oop, and the play has gotten a little bit wild. Cunningham was intended for him. High up over that rim, but he couldn't quite reach it. Crocker tries the drive. He's bumped and fouled with 7:26 to go. And we have a break with your score: Villanova 55, Oklahoma 42 in Norman.
I'm Reese Davis with your SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Barry Bonds is at the winter meetings for the first time in recent memory, looking for a team to play for. 22 home runs away from Hank Aaron's record. Some skeptics believe it will be nowhere but San Francisco. Duke has opened up a lead now on ESPN2 against Holy Cross. Gerald Henderson hitting the three. Duke have been pushed by the Crusaders all night, but they have the lead at the moment. SportsCenter after the NBA, guys.
Protect the long non-conference home court win streak. Oklahoma is down 13. Their 49-game home win streak out of conference on the line. As we take a look at our Sony PlayStation game track, Villanova shooting the three very well. Nardi with 19. And look at Oklahoma, a season-high 22 turnovers.
What you don't see there is Nardi's terrific defense. There is no stat for that, and you don't see Nardi with the and-one hockey pass either, which he'll do. I really like Nardi. He has a nice instinctive presence about him and an unselfishness that belies his ability to shoot the ball so effectively from NBA 3.
Nardi, the senior from Linden, New Jersey, can really fill it long range. He had a game last January in which he hit 7 from beyond the three-point arc against West Virginia. 19 points tonight. Crocker has it for Oklahoma. Trying to cut into this lead. One shot and done on that effort as Austin Johnson missed it. And Johnson had the IV at halftime that seemed to do the job. It really kicked in. He hit 2 quick threes right after the break. Clark partially blocked by Johnson. Got it clean. Oklahoma forcing the turnover. Neither side has scored in over 3 minutes.
I thought that was too early in the shot clock. Let's watch Villanova set picks against zones.
Clark lost it on the dribble. 23 turnovers for the Sooners.
Well, usually when you're 6'9", 250-pound five-man takes 2 dribbles into a zone, he's going to lose it. Sometimes these kids forget who they are. But that's a freshman mistake of enthusiasm.
Shot clock at 15. Villanova running a little bit of that clock here with just over 6 minutes to play. Watch Anderson shoot. Way downtown and a little too strong. But that's typical of him to shoot 25, 26, 27 feet from the basket. Long arm intended for him. Nardi was clearing out underneath, pushing on the big fella, and he commits the foul.
Look at Nardi. I mean, he just butted him out of there. He gave him like a goat butt out of there with his rear end. Take a look at Nardi. He does what the only thing he can do. He's so badly mismatched. And then he tries to look at the ref as, oh, geez, I'm just blocking out.
The choir boy look. 6:12 to go.
Most choir boys don't have those tattoos.
With that shooting ability.
No, or tenacious defense. I love his defense, Dave. To have a two-guard that is your best defender on the team, that's such an anomaly in Division I.
Well, think of the guys he was guarding in practice the last few years.
Yeah. Great point by you.
Got pretty good. Longar lays it in. Quick strike here for the Sooners. This is what they were down at halftime. They were behind by 11.
Every time they try to drive or go inside, something good's happened. That's why I didn't understand that end out of bounds play where they went for the 3-ball at the young Frost Crocker.
Villanova over the last 5 minutes has turned it over 4 times.
Boy, these kids have played hard. Yeah, there's been no lack of effort, I'll tell you that.
Reynolds out to Sumter. Got it. It's a 3-pointer. Every time you think Oklahoma's sticking their nose back in it, Sumter or Nardi, they hit a big basket.
That shot does not come easy for him. He can practice at thousands of shots because it's a labored effort. He doesn't have that smooth, mechanical, fluid stroke that you'd think a guy who hits as many threes as he does usually has.
Crocker finds Clark inside. Missed it from close range. He's having a tough second half.
Clark heard the footsteps.
Yeah, he did. And Sheridan right behind him, and here's Reynolds to give it up to Ben, and you might expect the Wildcats to run a little more clock here. No, they don't.
Oh, my God.
Reynolds with an ugly-looking shot. Under the category of bad shot, there's Exhibit A tonight. Tied up. It'll stay on this end of the floor.
Well, it's time, score, who you are taking the shot, and what teammates are playing with you on the floor. There's the 4 criteria. You can get that shot, son, late in the clock.
Taylor Griffin back in for Oklahoma. In fact, Capel will make 3 substitutions here.
Jay does such a great job with his temperament on the sideline. He remains poised. He coaches them as they come out. He'll live with that mistake as long as they hustle. I applaud him.
You can't win any more Coach of the Year honors than Jay Wright won last year. I don't know where he's putting him in the house in Philadelphia, but he won them all. Coach of the Year, the Naismith Coach of the Year, the Big East Coach of the Year. That 3-pointer is good. And another one goes for Sumter, and that lead bumped up to 61-44.
That was a nail in the coffin.
May have been. Oklahoma has not looked like a team that has a long, extended run in them tonight. Godbold on the baseline, a wild shot. Here comes Reynolds on the attack. Nardi inside to Sumter. Lays it up, it won't go. But for Oklahoma, a 49-game non-conference home winning streak may be seconds away, minutes away from expiring here. And again, it's Griffin trying to stuff it down, but he's fouled on the play with 4 minutes to go.
Here we see that shot going up, and Sumter's all over using that push. You know, you can get away with that body bump if you hip them. You know, you can't come with a big arm movement or certainly a push. But if you give them that subtle, Paul Silas, Jack Sikma, those kind of guys used to wedge bodies in there, you know, Moses Malone was great at that. It's hard to call a foul on a guy's hip.
Sumter picked up his 3rd foul. As Cunningham returns for Villanova. And so too does Dwayne Anderson.
Nova does such a wonderful job of using that bench and keeping guys fresh. And their chemistry remains consistent. That's the best thing about that bench.
And it was one of the things that really marked that team last year. Godbold rebounds the miss. The Sooners with another opportunity here. Neal inside a long arm, missed. He couldn't get any closer.
He needs to flush that down. He needs to go up and try to dunk that.
And Capel has just been charged with a technical foul on the Oklahoma bench.
I love Capel because he's a competitor, and one thing he's instilled in his kids is this great competitive spirit. Once these guys settle down and understand what he wants them to do, they'll be fine.
We'll take a break here with 3:50 to go, and Villanova up comfortably in Norman.
Reese Davis with you. Duke appears to be close to getting out of the woods and extending their home court non-conference winning streak to 47. Gerald Henderson hitting the 3. Devils up on Holy Cross by 12. It's on ESPN2. And don't forget, just as soon as we're done, Chris Webber Leading in, the 76ers taking on the Bulls. It's coming up next.
Thanks. Villanova up 61-45. The gentleman in the Villanova sweatshirt is Rick Reynolds, the adopted father of Scotty Reynolds, the Villanova freshman guard. For more on that story, let's go to Alan Hopkins.
David, really is a great story. Rick and his wife, Pam, three kids of their own, adopted 3 black kids near the Huntsville, Alabama area where Scotty Reynolds was born. And the great thing that he said about the decision to go to Villanova was that at least now they get to see him much more in person during the school year. They've already been to 4 games this year. And the one thing that he did mention is that Scotty is very eager to find out about his adoptive parents. He's very open in talking about it. And as soon as he turns 19 and he's legally able to do so, he's going to go and investigate what his adoptive parents were like and everything. But he's a very mature kid who oozes maturity. That's one of the reasons, Dave, that Coach White is so high on him.
Alan, thank you very much. Villanova charged with an offensive foul here. By the way, moments ago, Mike Nardi shooting the technicals. Charged to Jeff Capel, actually missed a foul shot. He missed the front end. He had made 19 out of 19 on the season before finally missing one. 62-45 Villanova. And for Scotty tonight, an emotional situation coming here to Oklahoma. He had signed that letter of intent to play for the Sooners, changing his mind after Kelvin Sampson left to go to Indiana. Walker will swish in that three-pointer. And a timeout here by Capel and Oklahoma.
Interesting call with this much time left in the game. But I'll tell you, I like the fact that they're out there and focused. Their effort was excellent out of the last timeout. There's no quitting these Oklahoma guys.
No, talking about coaches, how about all the coaching changes in the Big 12, Rick? 6 coaching changes in this conference alone. Jeff Capel, all of 31 years old. Mike Anderson, a talented coach formerly of UAB, now has Missouri off to a great start. How about Sean Sutton, following his father at Oklahoma State, 10-0. Can't do any better than that.
There were 60-some changes throughout the country last year, symptomatic of, you know, the call for success now. Very few people are patient. If they're patient here at Oklahoma, Capel's going to do a real good job with these guys. He's got the kids' attention. He's dedicated.
And you look at that, 31 years old and already a head coach for 4 years before coming to Oklahoma at Virginia Commonwealth. And you're right, the most head coaching changes in Division I in 9 years.
What I like best about Capel is he separates himself from Coach K by virtue of his own personality and also by virtue of his style of play. He's taken the best from Coach K and Duke, but he's also not afraid to deviate, as K did from Bobby Knight. You know, Knight is not a pick-and-roll guy.
Here's Nardi again. Got it to go. A three-pointer while hitting the deck after the shot as well.
That kid is so confident, so mentally tough, and so focused.
23 points for the senior, Mike Nardi, tonight. He's been the major reason that Villanova has looked so good and leads at 65-48. And Oklahoma's long non-conference winning streak on this court is going to die tonight, it would appear. Griffin trying to save it. Right back to Cunningham and Villanova.
And there is no chart for the stalwart defense, the lockdown of Nardi, who is their best on-ball defender. And perhaps he and Sumter are equal in being their obviously great competitors.
Reynolds all the way through, will bank it in. Nobody picked him up defensively. Oklahoma looks like they have just given up on this thing. Capel hasn't. He's not happy here.
No, and a great call by Capel, because you can't come down the lane. You got to close that lane down. Longer, didn't even move. I mean, he just watched his teammate and left him hang out to dry right there. You know, you've got this timeout is very well timed and very necessary, even though they're down 19, because it's a teachable moment, and you want to take advantage of teachable moments with a young team.
Well, Mike Nardi with the 23 points missed a foul shot for the first time all season seconds ago, but he has not missed much else.
No, he's a highlight film in his ability to poke at that ball, defend, and wreak havoc, lock you down. How about a two-guard who can draw and kick off a penetration like that? And look at him get to the rim and embrace contact, which is usually something that's an anathema for two guards. They don't like contact. This kid has a complete package on a collegiate basis, fueled by big heart. I said, Sumter's the soul, he's the heart.
And Villanova on their way to a nice win in a tough place to win here in Norman, and looking to improve to 7-1 on the young season. Forced a lot of turnovers tonight. 24 and counting. And the Sooners give it back again.
When they go to the film room, they're going to wish that they would have driven and would have gone inside a little bit sooner, Oklahoma.
Here's Sumter. His three-pointer won't go. Rebounded by the Sooners, who will fall to 4-3 on the season after winning 20 and losing 9 last season and going to the NCAA tournament. Crocker hits his three-pointer. He's had a fine night shooting the ball. And you can see an emerging freshman here in Tony Crocker out of San Antonio, Texas.
Let's not forget Clark. Crocker and Clark said they chose the program, Oklahoma. You did a good job earlier saying how it was their lifelong dream. The other young guy chose the coach, and when Sampson went to Indiana, he decided to go to Villanova.
It turned out to be a very tough situation as Crocker lifts another one. Talking about the youngster Scotty Reynolds. Thinking about this, I mean, given up for adoption as a baby there in Alabama, and then, you know, Kelvin Sampson walking away from this program to go to Indiana, take a great job, but not to psychoanalyze it, but no wonder he feels so heartbroken about it.
But Dave, family man that you are, you've made no mention today about the biggest breakup of all. How about Jen Aniston and Vince Vaughn? But they've remained good friends.
as they will invariably do. Glad to hear about that, Coach. Nardi fires and was not able to get it off in time. The shot clock expires. So we have 24 seconds left. And for Jay Wright and Villanova, they have put an end to Oklahoma's non-conference winning streak. It ends at 49 consecutive as Neal fires long range and it barely grazes the rim.
There'll be another one down the line. They've got too good a young talent. Crocker and Clark, number 00, do not play particularly well tonight, are the basis of an outstanding club 2 or 3 years hence.
So it winds up a relatively easy win for Jay Wright, and Villanova final score is 67-51. Villanova tops Oklahoma. Coming up next on ESPN, it's NBA Wednesday. The 76ers against the Chicago Bulls. And for continuing coverage of the game, we check out Post-Game Extra on ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Alan Hopkins and my partner, Coach Rick Majerus, I'm Dave O'Brien saying goodnight from Norman. Now to Reese Davis in the studio.